Every day you flip a switch, and without a second thought, your room fills with light. But behind that simple moment is one of the most fascinating inventions in human history, one that changed the world forever. And today we're taking you inside the massive factories where incandescent light bulbs are still being made, by the tens of thousands every single hour. Before we dive into how it's made today, let's take a quick step back. In the late 1800s, Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb, but he did perfect it. Dozens of scientists had tried before him, but their versions burned out too quickly or weren't practical. Edison found a way to make a long-lasting filament, and more importantly, a way to mass-produce the entire system, bulb, filament, and all. That changed everything. Streets, homes, and cities lit up like never before. For the first time in history, humans were no longer bound to the cycle of day and night. Now, over 140 years later, some factories still use a version of Edison's design. And here's how they do it. It all starts with sand. Yep, basic silica sand. Mix it with limestone, soda ash, and recycled glass, and you've got the raw material for industrial glass. These materials are loaded into a furnace, blazing at 1,600 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt everything into a glowing, liquid state. That molten glass is then shaped into long tubes, which cool and harden as they move down the line. Once cooled, machines slice these tubes into shorter, more manageable pieces. Then, flames are used to soften the glass again, allowing high-speed robotic arms to stretch and shape one end into a bulb-like dome. The other end stays narrow, just wide enough to hold the components that make the bulb work. Next comes the most important part, the filament. This tiny wire is what actually glows and gives off light. And it has to be made from one of the strongest metals on Earth, tungsten. Tungsten doesn't melt until around 3,400 degrees Celsius. That's hotter than lava. The wire is coiled tightly, then suspended inside the bulb using support wires made of copper. If the filament even touches the glass, the bulb will fail. But here's a problem. If you light a tungsten filament in normal air, it burns out in seconds. That's why every bulb is carefully evacuated. A vacuum pump sucks the air out of the bulb through a narrow tube, removing the oxygen. Then, the bulb is filled with a special gas mixture, usually argon and nitrogen. These gases don't react with the tungsten and allow the filament to glow without burning away too quickly. The glass exhaust tube is sealed shut with a blast of heat, trapping the protective gas inside. Now the bulb is ready to shine, but it still needs its base. A metal cap, usually aluminum, is crimped onto the bottom of the bulb. This is what screws into your lamp. 2 wires from the filament are soldered into the base, one to the tip, one to the threaded metal side. That's how electricity flows in and out, making the filament glow. Before it leaves the factory, each bulb goes through a testing phase. Machines turn them on and off repeatedly, testing them at high voltage to find any weak points in the filament. Only the bulbs that pass move on to packaging. Some bulbs get a final treatment, a soft white silica coating on the inside to diffuse the light, making it less harsh. Others stay clear for that classic, sharp glow. Then they're packed by smart robotic arms, carefully cushioned to avoid breaking during shipping. These machines can pack thousands of bulbs every hour with almost no human help. But here's the twist. For all their beauty and history, incandescent bulbs are slowly disappearing. That's because they're wildly inefficient. Only 5 to 10% of the electricity turns into light. The rest is wasted as heat. That's why many countries are phasing them out in favor of LEDs and CFLs, which use far less power and last much longer. Still, the incandescent bulb remains iconic. It's a symbol of invention, of progress, of the human spark that refuses to be left in the dark. From grains of sand to a glowing coil of tungsten, the story of the light bulb is one of science, heat, and a little bit of magic. The next time you turn on a lamp, just remember, there's an entire factory story hiding in that tiny glass shell. And if you found this fascinating, we've got more coming your way. Hit the like button, subscribe, and let us know in the comments which everyday item you want us to uncover next.